Harrison Norris Jr. is a U.S. Army veteran who served in the Gulf War, a retired pro wrestler, and the 2001 Tough Man Heavyweight Champion. Fans knew him best as Hardbody Harrison, or sometimes Hardbody Harris. After his military service, Norris trained at the WCW power plant and made his debut in 1995 as an enhancement talent for World Championship Wrestling. He appeared on WCW Monday Nitro and even showed up at Starrcade 1997. In 2000, he joined a group of former WCW wrestlers in a racial discrimination lawsuit against AOL Time Warner, the company that owned WCW at the time. The case was settled privately, and Norris received a significant payout. Around the same time, Norris also competed on the FX show Tough Man. In 2000, he won the show's heavyweight championship. When the World Wrestling Federation bought WCW in March 2001, Norris's contract was not picked up. His life took a dark turn a few years later. On August 18, 2004, Smyrna police arrested him on 3 charges of false imprisonment. He spent one night in jail and was released the next day on a $55,000 bond. Then, on August 23, 2005, the FBI raided 2 of his homes in Bartow County, Georgia. A few months later, on October 18, 2005, Norris was arrested on a 9-count federal indictment involving false imprisonment and trafficking women for commercial sex acts. On November 22, 2007, a federal jury in Atlanta convicted him of holding 8 women as sex slaves. Norris served as his own lawyer and argued that the women lived with him, his wife, and his child because they wanted to train as pro wrestlers and get clean from drugs. The victims, however, testified that Norris controlled them through strict rules, psychological manipulation, forced sex, and a system of debts tied to chores and punishment. Prosecutors said he forced the women into prostitution across northern Georgia and North Carolina until some escaped and went to the police. On April 1, 2008, Hardbody Harrison was sentenced to life in prison. Tamara Lynn Sitch is a former professional wrestling personality best known for her run in the WWF under the name Sunny from 1995 to 1998. She was one of the most recognizable managers of her era, but her life after wrestling became defined by a long series of legal troubles. Sitch's issues began escalating in 2012 when she was arrested 5 times in just 4 weeks for disorderly conduct, third-degree burglary, and repeated violations of a protective order. She was arrested again in early 2013 for another protective order violation and eventually served 114 days in a Connecticut jail. In May 2015, Sitch was pulled over in Pennsylvania after driving erratically into a Walmart parking lot. Her blood alcohol level was measured at 0.253%, leading to another arrest. 2 days later, she was stopped again for swerving over the center line. Officers reported the smell of alcohol, bloodshot eyes, and found an open beer can along with 11 unopened ones inside her car. Her blood alcohol level was 0.3%. Less than 3 weeks after that, in June 2015, she drove into a ditch. She blamed her GPS for the sudden turn, but police again noticed signs of intoxication. Although she refused a field sobriety test, a later blood test showed a result of 0.078%. Sitch pleaded guilty to all 3 2015 DUI cases in January 2016. She was sentenced to 90 days in jail, but her 97 days in rehab were counted as time served. Not long after, she violated her parole and remained jailed until February 3, 2017. Her legal problems continued. On February 27, 2018, Sitch was arrested on multiple charges, including fugitive from justice and contempt of court. These stemmed from missed court appearances and DUI cases in New Jersey. She was extradited to Pennsylvania due to a bench warrant related to earlier probation violations. With a zero-tolerance warning already issued by the judge, she faced up to 5 years in prison. She remained in custody until being paroled on October 9, 2018. In February 2019, another bench warrant was issued in Pennsylvania. Later that month, Sitch was arrested in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, for DUI and additional driving offenses. She was then transferred back to Carbon County, Pennsylvania, and spent more than a year behind bars before being released on February 25, 2020. In July 2020, she was arrested yet again, this time for eluding police, violating a domestic violence restraining order, and driving with a suspended license. She remained incarcerated until June 2021. On January 13, 2022, Sitch was arrested in Keansburg, New Jersey for allegedly threatening to kill an intimate partner with a pair of scissors. She was released the next day under an order to check in weekly with the court. A month later, she was arrested again and charged with 11 new driving offenses, including DUI. The most serious incident occurred on March 25, 2022. Sitch was involved in a high-speed crash in Ormond Beach, Florida, where her car struck a stopped vehicle, killing a 75-year-old man. Toxicology reports later revealed that her blood alcohol content was about 3.5 times the legal limit. In May 2022, she was arrested on DUI and manslaughter charges. She initially posted bond, but a judge revoked it days later, calling her a danger to the community. On August 16, 2023, Sitch pleaded no contest to the charges. On November 27, 2023, she received a sentence of 17 and a half years in prison, plus 8 years of probation. She was given credit for 566 days already served. Her tentative release date is December 2039. Brian McGee is an American former professional wrestler best known under the ring name Donovan Ruddock. He also wrestled as D.T. Porter during his time with WWE's developmental territory, Florida Championship Wrestling. Standing tall and physically imposing, he was once promoted as The Future in the ring. But McGee's wrestling career came to a tragic end after a violent and deadly incident in 2013. On the night of July 24, 2013, McGee was arrested after brutally stabbing his ex-girlfriend to death at a Tampa apartment complex. He was charged with first-degree murder. According to authorities, the victim, Bianca McAney, was 25 years old. She and McGee had ended their relationship about a year earlier, though police reports say he continued to contact her. On the night of the attack, McGee was parked outside her apartment complex and saw her approaching. He got out of his vehicle, walked toward her, and then began stabbing her. McGahee suffered multiple stab wounds to her torso and neck and was pronounced dead at the scene. After the attack, McGee returned to his car and fled the area. Deputies spotted his vehicle speeding north on I-75 toward Pasco County. During the pursuit, McGee lost control and crashed into a guardrail. He was injured in the crash and later taken to a Tampa hospital for treatment. In 2016, McGee was sentenced to life in Florida State Prison without the possibility of parole. Medardo Jim Leon Jr. was an American professional wrestler, trainer, and promoter, best known in the ring as Bad Boy Ricky Lawless. Throughout the early to mid-1980s, he wrestled across the Eastern, Mid-Atlantic, and Southern territories, competing for promotions such as International Championship Wrestling and the National Wrestling Federation. Outside the ring, Leon ran a respected and successful wrestling school. Many of his students went on to make names for themselves, including Steve the Brawler Lawler, Playboy Bobby Starr, Axel Rotten, and Joey Maggs. Tragically, on November 30th, 1988, Leon was shot and killed in Baltimore, Maryland. Reports say he died in the arms of his girlfriend. The Toronto Star claimed the shooter was a former tag team partner, though other accounts described the incident as involving an enraged husband confronting Leon over an alleged affair. Scott Oliver Hall was an American professional wrestler best known for his iconic runs in WCW under his real name and in the WWF where he became famous as Razor Ramon. Before rising to fame, Hall faced a life-altering incident in 1983. Outside a nightclub in Orlando, Florida, he became involved in a violent confrontation. Hall later said he wrestled a gun away from another man during the struggle. In the chaos, he shot the man in the head with the same weapon. He was charged with second-degree murder, but the case was later dropped due to insufficient evidence. Hall consistently maintained that he acted in self-defense. Years later, in a 2011 ESPN interview, Hall admitted the event continued to haunt him, saying he was never able to forget what happened. This is from a newspaper article from that time. Bartender charged in slaying of boss. A bartender at a topless bar on South Orange Blossom Trail was charged with murder Saturday night after a manager at the bar was fatally shot. Rodney Perry Turner died when he was shot in a struggle over a .45 caliber handgun outside the dollhouse. Scott Hall was charged with second-degree murder. A bar employee said the victim's wife had been seeing Hall and that the victim had threatened to kill them both. As Hall pulled up to the bar in his car Saturday evening, the victim confronted him with a gun, the employee said. In November, the victim fatally shot a man who he said attacked him while making advances toward his 19-year-old wife, Carol. The killing was ruled justifiable.